Hey folks, good evening. Welcome to another Money Space with me, Kalu Aja. On the space, of course, every Sunday we're talking money, the economy, and of course, personal finance. And this week we have a simple topic, imports of cars, but of course that extends into inflation, consumption, the buying power of Nigerians because we have a new policy from the Nigerian customs, which we're going to talk about today. And we're going to use that perhaps as a stepping stone to then talk more about the economy. So I've got a guest here. He's been on here before. We had him here and he spoke to us about his car importation business a while back. This time we're going to talk about the new Nigerian customs. It's called the fee on board. Let me make sure I get that name correct. The FOB, the fee on board, is now 4%, right? That's what we want to talk about really to drive the conversation. So let me do it this way, right? My guest's already here. I've already sent him an invite. Let me lay out for you folks what's going on with the customs, the ports, and the economy. Then would invite him to speak. I also have another guest that's going to come in, I think, in an hour or so. He does car imports, that the ones that they cut and then they rejoin in Nigeria. I also want to get his sense on what's going on as well. So we're going to try to have two guests on the space today, but we're going to really speak to Oloye. So what's happening is that the Nigerian Customs Service has introduced this new 4%. It's called fee on board fee. Now, what they've done is that this fee, according to them, has replaced the old fees that they used to have when you import cars into Nigeria. I understand this, but it used to be back then. Ole's going to give us more information, but 1% and 7%. That's what they used to charge before, like a 1% fee and a 7% fee, right? But now they have this new 4% fee. So as a casual observer, you would ask yourself, why 4% seems lower than 7? So what's all the noise about, really? What I understand when I did my research is that the 4%, the way it's calculated or the way your car is assessed, means you pay more than even that 7% that has been scrapped and replaced by this 4%. Someone actually gave me a list out of the invoice. If you bring in at that 4%, what they are charging you is much, much, much higher. So there's been a lot of talk at the port. I even saw like a small, demonstration, peaceful one, right? Just to say, hey, this is going to be expensive because if we increase our charges, then Nigerians will not be able to buy cars, especially the second-hand cars that Nigerians are buying. And that's really all they can afford. That's what the Nigerian importers are saying. If you keep this new fees that are using to bring goods into the country, not just cars, but everything's going to go up in price. And because Nigeria really imports a lot of things, it's going to be imported inflation. It's going to kill consumption and it's going to affect the wallets of Nigerians. The customs folks, I tried to reach out to them this week. I finally got a few guys. They told me, and I don't want to put anyone in trouble, they said no one would really come on the space to talk about these things because they don't really get that permission to come and talk. But I should ask them questions, they will try to answer. Their point was that, number one, this is a law that has been passed and signed by the president. It's not, they didn't just increase the customs fees. That this was that actually passed a law that the president signed. This was the new Customs Act that was passed and has been signed by the president. And that people had a lot of time to talk about this law and no one spoke about it. So in the past, they used to have the 7% surcharge and the 1% comprehensive import supervision scheme, CISS. So before it was 7% surcharge and 1% comprehensive import. But now they've got this new system, this new computer system that can track the cars that are coming into the country by putting in the VIN, and that costs a lot of money to maintain, like the licensing. So this new fee is to cover the cost of maintaining that licensing so they can do their job. In effect, they are saying that the Nigerians basically kept quiet. This law was passed, and after it has been passed and signed and implemented, then they are now seeing the demonstrations and all that. It's not an arbitrary law that they have passed it. He also made the point at number two that all customs is doing now is because they can apply the full VIN number. That in the past, you can bring in a car and say it is accident. You can bring in an accidented car or bring in a new car and say it's accidented, and then you pay less customs duty. But now with this new software, once they plug in the car, they can basically tell if that car was new, if it's accidented, if it's a CKD that's completely knocked down, and the rest. So in effect, they're saying that they are able to determine the real value of the car, and not that they are charging a lot, but that they are charging the real value. That in the past they did not charge a real value. So you can see both sides are saying the same thing, but the way it's been interpreted is basically what's different. One side is saying the fees have gone up, even though it is 4%. The way you are calculating that 4% is going to make Nigerians pay much more, as high as 40% per car. The other side is saying no, we're only charging you the real cost of the cars you are importing, and it's not an arbitrary cost. It was passed by law. So like I said, I got someone to share what this status would look like, right? If you try to bring in a cost of a car, what do you pay at the port, really, right? So I'm not really sure of what this, I think the car is going to cost about, let me just tell you what they pay at the port, right? Number one, you're going to pay the 4% FOB, you're going to pay 20% duty, you're going to pay 15% National Automotive Council levy, and then 0.05% ETL, that's electronic money transfer scheme. So if you look at the total cost just to bring the car into Nigeria, 4 plus 20 plus 15, that's a lot. That's really a lot on just a car, and that's why the cars are expensive. So cars basically are going to become maybe luxury items that the middle class, if we have one, can no longer afford. So you can see it's well teed up, you know. So I wish the customs guys could come. They gave good answers, but if they can't come, I'll try to stand in their stead when I'm speaking to my guest Oloye and the other folks, just so that we have a balanced view. I don't want to attack anybody. I want folks that are tuning in, I want to listen and really understand what's going on. We're going to talk to the guys on ground doing this business, and we're going to say, okay, what is the impact? And of course, if you want to speak, do request. There's DM request to speak, and we'll add you. Oloye, thanks for being here on time. You've heard my intro. Let's start by introducing yourself, sir. Just introduce yourself to the group, who you are, what you do, and then we'll take it from there. Ezechi, also say you. Thank you.
Yeah, Carlos, thank you so much for your invitation again. The first time was so fun. I had to do this again.
Yeah.
Now it's not as
It's
fun
not
what we're going to discuss. Yeah, it's not as fun what we're going to talk about now. But yeah, I'm a car importer. I import other things too, but mainly I do car import, which means I have people, I do pre-order for cars. I also do have an inventory. So basically that is all there is to it. I'm in the car business, and I'm a direct importer.
Okay, perfect. Like I said, what I'm going to try to do this space is to have you, Oloye, talk around your side. The other gentleman is more like an importer of the CKD, the ones that they strip down, then they are reassembled here. So we'll try to get both perspectives. Yeah. But
those iChat process.
Gotcha. So you heard me just give an intro. Did I get it right? I mean, you've heard what the customs folks are saying. Give me your own experience in terms of what did it cost you to import a car before this new FOB? What's it costing to import a car today, and what's the issue?
Yeah, I mean, we're all Nigerians, and if you are a Nigerian, then you know what it means to be Nigerian, especially when a narrative is being set, and that is just like the official narrative. We know the official narrative is usually different from what the situation on ground is, and so the official narrative is that the FOB is coming to replace such and such, and it is going to be the VIN-based valuation is going to help the customs to actually get the value of the cars and all of that. But in the real sense, and I'm not being anti here, I'm just giving you the facts. Even people, if there's a customs officer here and knows that what I'm saying is the truth. But at the end of the day, the official narrative is the official narrative. You cannot go away from it. Maybe being on the side, we can go away from it. And so basically that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not like even like pissed at these things. Maybe I was, but now at the end of the day, who bears the cost of the cars? I am not the one that bears the cost. While it might affect business in the sense that cars become more expensive, we're dealing with some economic issues whereby we're still trying to like recover. Our economy is still trying to recover. It might affect purchasing power. Maybe maybe less patronage, and that is the only way it affects me. But at the end of the day, on the Naira value itself, it is the customer that pays it. And I'll speak directly to your point. I'll speak directly to what you said about the VIN-based valuation, which the customs officer said that they are using now. So basically what is happening is that what used to happen is what we call the Form 846. And the Form 846 was basically a negotiation-based valuation system whereby I present my invoice to you. Customs can say, oh, I think you undervalued these things, even though I'm presenting you an actual invoice from the Copart or this auction site. They can say, oh, I think this car should be worth more. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we think this car should be worth more, and then we can go into some kind of like negotiation, whereby by the end of the day, we come to a valuation that works for both parties. But what is happening now basically is that is not happening anymore. The Form 846 has been scrapped, and on surface it feels. I'm just going to like speak to the facts. I'm not going to like give you my opinions. Form 846 has been scrapped, which means that now valuation is being determined arbitrarily, and that is fact. That is not my opinion. The valuation of cars now are being determined arbitrarily. And if the customs officer says, oh, we have the technology now to know if this car is salvage, if it is a new car and all of that, then in that case, I would be happy as an importer, because that means even in the old system, we're paying more than we should pay to begin with. Even in the old system, we're paying more than we should pay. And a lot of these charges might like go, some of these charges might be off book. By the end of the day, we're paying more than we should pay. I don't want to like speak too much to certain things. That's between the clearing agents and the customs officers. They're the ones that like have that conversation. It is, I speak to my agents. My agent speaks to the customs officer, and he's kind of like the middleman between us. So in that way, everyone has like possible deniability. Oh, it is the agent's fault. They are the ones that are overcharging you. At the end of the day, we know that is not true. We know it is what it is. But now, what is happening is that I come to customs. I present my. So when we're shipping cars, usually you will have to also put the receipts. It is one of the documents. So if you have a car that I've shipped into Nigeria, check a document, you will see the receipts from maybe like the shipping line that actually like speaks to the valuation of that car itself. So now, if customs is saying, oh, we have the technology now to actually determine the value of this cars, which means I expect now that, okay, maybe you've plugged into the apes of all these auction sites, which means you can actually tell how much I bought this car, and you can charge me a duty, or you can charge me my import duties based on that amount. But that is not what is happening. What is happening is that I present an invoice, which is the actual invoice that I paid, and say, oh, I bought this car for $2,000. A customer can say, no, we think you've undervalued this car. We think it should be worth $10,000. You pay duties based on our valuation, and there's no recourse to you. A few weeks ago, I shared something like that. I shared an actual valuation screenshot like that, where it is just, it is not just cars.
It's everything.
Whatever you're importing, it is not just cars. It is every single thing that you imported. There's this guy, Folu, one of these tech CEOs, that says he bought a t-shirt, I think worth more than 60,000 naira. And once it got here, they told him he had to pay 360,000 naira on duties on those t-shirts.
So,
It doesn't matter
what you're importing. So,
Okay.
the point that you're making, I understand, is that you're saying that it's not an issue of the VIN number. It's an issue of they have simply used this 4% because you said before it was a negotiated costing. Now this 4% has replaced. How is it possible that 4 can replace 7 and be higher?
4 doesn't replace 7 in the actual sense. That is all part of the official narrative. It doesn't replace a single thing. Every cost is still there plus the 4%. Before we used to pay, I think I've read some of them out. Before we pay 20% duty, 15% NAC, 7% surcharge, 1% CISS, 0.5% ETL, ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme, whatever that is. The 4% is added on top of those. It does not replace a single thing. Ask any importer.
Yes, I think someone has sent me a DM now and they say that Kalu, the 4% and the 7% are still being charged. They did not remove the past dues. That's the problem. The 4%, that's what someone is saying. It's confirmed with it. The 4 and the 7 are still being added. That's why the costs have gone up. Okay?
That is not why the cost has gone up.
Go ahead,
But
Lloyd.
mathematically, 4% is something. But 4% is not something Nigerians will protest over. Because we're used to cost getting higher already. So for 4%, we can manage 4%. Why cost has gone up is the arbitrary violation, whereby if you're telling me to pay, so if you had all these costs together before it was 50%, the 4% reduction, the reduction was supposed to bring it down to 46%, which means on everything I'm importing, I should be paying 40 to 50% of that. Now with the increase, with the 4% being increased, now it goes to 54%. That doesn't really affect me like that. From my own point of view, it's just 4% additional cost. Maybe on very high value cars, maybe if I'm buying a $200,000 car, then maybe I would complain. For the most part, most of my customer base who buy cars are like 15 million naira. If you add 4% of 15 million naira, it doesn't do any serious damage to me or to our business. What is being damaged is the arbitrary valuation, whereby I have an invoice that says this car I bought it for $2,000, which you can verify from the auction site. It's as simple as plugging into the API to see how much was this car actually sold. In fact, you don't even have to plug into the API of any of these auction sites. They are independent platforms that provide the services. So you can find out how much any car was sold by inputting the VIN of that car into it.
Yeah, the guy is saying that you're not understanding him. He's saying that they are retaining the 7% in addition to the new one.
I agree. I'm just saying that is not why we are complaining. I'm saying in the grand scheme of things, the 4% is additional. I have said that the 4% is additional. They didn't take anything out. They just added 4% to it.
Okay.
But 4% doesn't blow it out of the water. It is a cost that we can bear. What we cannot bear, and why car prices will continue to go up, and they've gone up already, especially if you're buying any car that is higher than 2016. If you want to buy a car now, you probably want to stay around 2015, because at that price, I'm not going to say this one publicly because I don't know who is listening, but you probably want to avoid cars above 2016 and above, because those are the ones that are really affected. And if I have an invoice for a 2016 car that says I bought this car for $6,000, if you charge me, whether you charge me 50% on that $6,000 or you charge me 54% on that $6,000, it doesn't do serious harm to my business. It's just 4% less. What does harm to my business is if I buy a car for $6,000 and you tell me this car is worth $18,000 and you tell me to pay 54% of that $18,000 with no recourse to me.
I see where you're going. I see the point you're
That
making.
is where the issue is.
So it's not the customs cost per se. It is that they are arbitrarily changing your purchase price. You bring an invoice to Nigeria,
Yes.
and they tell you, no, we don't agree with this invoice. It's a different invoice. Okay, a guy asked me to ask you a question on DM. So maybe this question is now mute. But he's asking, when auto sellers bring in cars before now, they sell at market price, regardless of how much the car costs. You see where he's going to with this? So he's saying whatever you guys bring in, you sell at market price. So why is it different? You are still going to sell at market price.
No, I mean, market price is not stationary. It is not something that is rigid. Market price evolves. Market price of a Toyota Corolla 2016 Toyota Corolla in 2023 is different from what the market price is now. What is causing those differences is what we're discussing.
So where he's going to.
Okay.
Where it's going to is that even if they charge you at 19,000 when your invoice is 4,000, you're still going to sell at 19 plus your margin at the quote-unquote market. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, that is what is going to happen. But that price, if you were supposed to pay 4 million naira to clear a car, and now it has been marked up, and now you have to pay 10 million naira. There's a 6 million naira difference in there. So if I'm going to sell at market price, now my market price would add that additional 6 million naira to it, which the end user has to pay.
Which then drives inflation and drives the lack of consumption we're talking about, which is the point we're making. Understood. Let's get Kinjo here. Let's get Kinjo. Your hand is up. You have a question for Ole. I mean, we're trying to understand what's going on. I think if I agree there's a 4%, there's also a 7%. If I agree that customs is attaching these fees, but he's making a point. Ole is making a point that customs is arbitrary, not using your own invoice, but using their own imputed cost to bring those imports in. Kinjo, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Hal. I was going to point out a few things to Oloye, and the first will be, we were talking about an API. How about people who buy cars from private individuals? There's no way you can have the pricing. So one thing I'm saying the government is trying to do here is eliminate that difference in whatever your invoice says and the actual value. I'll give you an example. For a state like the state of Florida, right? If you buy a car, the DMV they charge you the tax based on the value of the car, not the value of the car, but what you have in your receipt, right? In your bill of sale. So they charge you the average amount is 7% of that, right? And I have seen people who come and buy cars from you and tell you hey, please, so that I can pay lower taxes, can you kindly just, put 5,000 as the purchase price so that they charge me 7% of that. And what you actually sold that car was for $8,000 or $10,000, right? But I will tell you that the state of Georgia kind of eliminated that. Whatever your bill of sale has, they don't care. They have a standard price, the tax rates that they're going to charge for the car. So they put in your VIN and it tells them the make and model, the year. They don't care the mileage. They don't care any of that, and it is still the same amount you're going to pay.
Like KBB and all that.
Exactly. So I see that as the best way the government can kind of eliminate all the price discrepancies to say someone is buying this car for this amount and another person is bringing the same car for a different amount.
Well, what do you say?
No, there's a lot that can be said to that. And what percent, if you would guess, what percent of the cars in the Nigerian market do you think will buy directly from owners in the USA? If you just take a wild guess, what percentage of Tokumbo cars on Nigerian roads do you think were sourced directly from the owners abroad?
I wouldn't know that answer.
I'm sorry?
No, I don't know that answer, Oloye. I don't.
Well, it's less than 5%.
Less than 5%. So the point you're making is that looking at the actual purchase price between willing buyer, willing seller will not cut it here. But he's making the point that there's just no way the customs can know, and that by just basically saying we're going to put in the Kelly Blue Book value and determine the value of the car, because if you go to the bank would use the KBB value. They don't care what they use the KBB value and give you a loan to buy a car. I think that's where he's going to. That's what.
Yeah, I understand exactly where it's going to. But I'm trying to tell you that where it's going to is maybe max 5% of the Nigerian market. So if we're chasing 5% and they're going like 95% off the cars on the road, whereby you can actually like get the actual invoices for these cars.
Yeah.
They are not cars that if I bought 50 cars this year, only 2 that I source from like directly themselves.
Understood. Yeah, understood.
So why am I chasing like that too? And again the 48.
Understood. Let me ask you
like a rule based on outliers. I'm not creating a rule based on what the rule is. I'm creating my rule based on what the outliers are.
Understood. Let me ask Kijo, let me ask you a question. Like, we know how the US does it, but do you understand that if they use that Kelly Blue Book value style, that will cause price of cars to go up in Nigeria astronomically and become unaffordable? So is there a halfway? I was in a meeting when Microsoft first came to Nigeria to sell software, and they said yes, our software back then was $500, and I just couldn't afford it. And I just told them, if you make it $500, people will keep on ripping you off. You have to bring it down so we can afford it. So is there an argument with me that even though it is the Kelly Blue Book value, Nigerians simply cannot afford cars using that model? What would you say to that?
My first point to that was going to be, I don't know if the custom is focused on affordability for the citizens. Their own primary aim will be to get the necessary revenue, because the last I checked, I think they are under the Ministry of Finance. I'm not sure about that. But theirs will be to have a robust system that, while you are pointing out the outliers to say that, that's just a little fraction in everything, they are trying to have a system that will actually be so robust to both get the major ones, which people probably get from maybe Mannheim, IAA, Copart, and other auctions. At the same time, still be able to get the ones from the private sellers. Also, I'm not sure how people share information with government. I'm definitely not sure about that. I don't know if they have that API that all those auctions are sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, Kijo, I
so
you.
Far. Sorry?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if they are sharing that information, because I know how they kind of like protect all those things. But if they are and if they are not, I think the best robust way for the government to go about it to capture all that revenue is to have that standard price.
But okay, not to put you on the spot, you're not the Ministry of Finance, you're not speaking for the government, but look at it this way, right? Customs is under the Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance is chasing low inflation. They want to reflate the economy, they want to boost consumption, they want to boost GDP per capita. Petrol price has gone up in Nigeria. PMS is up. So if you do policies, that's why we now have a coordinating Minister of the Economy. We don't have a Minister of Finance anymore, because that guy is supposed to coordinate across the board. So if you then increase the cost of inputs, right, how can then the cost of inflation come down? If we know that, yes, under KBB would make more revenues, but Nigerians can't afford it, and the ones that can afford it will simply pass that cost on to the ordinary man, which is inflation. You see that argument I'm making there? Why can't we just say, okay, because of now we're going to give you guys a 50% across the board discount for now, just like how we do with power. Power sector, we don't pay the full cost. There's a multi-year tariff where the federal government pays power bills for all Nigerians. Why can't we have it for for cars? Again, not put you on the spot, but just make sure that out there. What's your take on that?
Yeah, let me play, like I work for the Ministry of Finance, but here's what I'm thinking. If, I'm not sure, I'm not, speaking from any authority, but if they are pursuing the promotion of local content in terms of the promotion of, the innocents, the nerds, recently I think I saw something like Peugeot being in Nigeria, but I don't know their final aim, but this could be another way to kind of like discourage full importation and promote local consumption.
Okay, fair point. Let's get Kolawole in here. Kolawole, hi, your hand is up. You've been hearing us speak. We're talking about the back and forth. What's your take?
Thank you so much, Kalu. Thanks to Oloye and Kinjo. I seem to understand both sides of the argument. And honestly, I'm going to align myself with Oloye in this case because, truthfully, off of my head, if I'm not going to go with the 5% that is purchased directly from private sellers in the US, my best guess would be at most 10%. And when you look at that statistics, that does not reasonably make the cause for a policy to now be predicated on the basis of a 10% margin of error just to punish the genuine transaction level at 90%, right? So, but then I understand what it is. I understand also the side that Kinjo has tried to articulate, which to me sounds more like the government narrative. So, but I think the balance in this case would be because going with what the government is trying to do right now, in my mind, is another recipe for disaster, knowing what Nigerian is with corruption, right? So I believe this, again, would open, like another, like a window of corruption because just like Oloye said, he said the value is just like arbitrary, right? You could go in there and they just call a figure, where that goes, you might not even be able to determine. So I think the middle ground in this case would be, okay, if the government is going to go in the line of, okay, let's use a standard value for any brand of car based on year, regardless of the mileage and stuff, then I think this data should be public, right? So once it is public, before I order a car from the US or anywhere in the world, I can go straight to customs website and check the year and the brand and know exactly what I would be paying in these taxes or whatever, the charges, the levies, whatever they are called, right? So this would eliminate the chances of the process being corrupted in my mind. And again, there could now be an argument, there could be a discussion, right, as to how reasonable these values are. And then maybe what you now said can come into play, like looking at it from affordability perspective. If we know exactly what the figures are, we can now go into the debate of how reasonable these figures are, vis-a-vis the situation of Nigerians. I think this is it for me, really, at this point. Just trying to be in the middle, right? Understanding the argument on the government side, and of course on the business side, right?
Gotcha. Ole, so it's more like a IGR taking precedence over inflation. Ole,
it is all about IGR, because maybe customs does not have an official. Maybe there's no official revenue target, but it has been muted.
Oh, they have a big revenue target. They have a huge revenue target.
Like 10 trillion a year.
Yeah, they want to, because I mean...
Last year they did about 5.9, and no, 5.1, thereabout, I think. And now they're saying it should be 10 trillion a year. So it depends, like, what exactly is the function of our customs? Is it to facilitate trade, or is it to general revenue?
Because
at the beginning of the year, when the USA did its retaliatory 40% or whatever, we remember we were all shouting like it would affect our exporters. Okay, but at the end of the day, every country would make their policy based on how much. The highest thing that we import from the US economy is what we call the Tokumbo cars. which means we add value to the. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Oluya. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we add value to the American market in that way. So if the president cares about that figure, which might not be like general, maybe they don't really care about that figure, but let's say it's a figure that really matters, they don't want to make sure that we are not we're not giving them the short stick on that side of the trade, because it would not only, it would affect their own economy in such a way that now they're discouraging trade with them. So now they want to discourage trade with us, which would make them give us that retaliatory thing, which would affect our exporters. We say we're fighting inflation or fighting dollar stability. If these retaliatory policies take effect, it is going to affect our exports, which means we can't even get as much dollars as we should get, which would also affect our monetary policy.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, these two things, it is not a... It is. I'm reading some comments in this thing, and it feels like people are not really like understanding this thing. Because if you could buy a car for 7 million naira before, and now in the market that car is 15 million naira, and it might be 25 million naira in maybe 3 months, 25 million naira in maybe 3 months, in the space of 3 years, do you think it is? Because people think about it like this. Now you need more cash to afford these things. Now you don't have the cash, which means, like I'm saying, the side that it would affect the people in the businesses, that now we don't get as much people buying, but we want more people to buy cars, which is why we are even like protesting or fighting for these things. Because at the end of the day, we are not the ones that is going to like pay that cost.
Yeah.
We have the leverage to like push that cost to the end user.
Yeah.
But it would affect the people. How many people can afford 25-year-old cars in Nigeria right now? If you earn like 5 million naira in a year, which would put you in, I don't know, maybe like top 15% of the Nigerian workforce, you cannot afford a car in maybe 10 years if you save 20% of your salary.
Yeah.
So if it is affecting my patronage, my own, what I'm fighting for is that the cost should come down, which means I'm trying to sell the car to you at the least possible cost that I can afford to sell that car to you. Cars were not cheaper before. And I get the matter of like market price, but there's no market you walk into today, whether it is a car, someone is pricing that car at 28 million naira, someone else is pricing that at 24 million naira, which means the person has considered the inputs that went to that car and said, even at 24 million naira, I can make a profit. So there was no general market price whereby everyone was selling cars for 28 million naira. You even go on like places you buy cars right now, people will price them differently based on the inputs that has gone to that car.
Understand.
I also want to speak to the percentage problem that we're having. I'm being generous with 5% because I don't want to sound ridiculous. Because we cannot afford clean cars. Clean cars are cars that you buy from the end user itself. Those transactions would usually happen. Maybe someone calls me the and be like, "Oh, this is my friend needs cash in Nigeria to do something urgent. He wants to sell this car. How much would you buy this car off him?" There's no standard market. You cannot afford clean cars in the USA. We cannot afford them. It's not the thing that it's not a matter of, oh, we can afford to buy them, we're just not buying them. Because if you would buy a car from an auction site for say $3,000, to get the clean title version of that car, you might have to pay $8,000. Who are you going to come and market that car to over here? Because now we have a general market range whereby this particular car, maybe you cannot sell for more than 20 million naira. So if you go invest $8,000 in the car that has a general market price, you are making a loss already.
Interesting. Lawyer, I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you. I mean, you said a lot. Let me just put it this way, right? Nigeria subsidizes PMS. Even till today, we're subsidizing PMS. Not as much as we did in the past, but we're not subsidizing the car imports. But the argument is going to be two ways. One side is going to say, listen, Nigeria needs the revenues. We need the revenues. If you want to bring in a car, you've got to pay the right revenue. That's what the customs and folks are going to say on one side. Other side is going to say, if you collect the real revenues, the costs are going to be high. Sorry, I didn't mean petrol. I mean power. Nigeria subsidizes power.
I don't agree with that summation. If you collect the real revenue, the cost is going to be lower.
Why would it be lower?
The reason you are not collecting the real revenue is because you want to inflate the cost. That is why you are making it arbitrary.
I think they are doing the. I think
We can do a general market.
what they are saying is that they are charging they are using like a Kelly Blue Book style where they run the vein, and with that vein
How
they
do
can
they
determine.
arrive at these valuations?
Okay,
How do they arrive at these valuations? That is the question.
all right,
How is that valuation like arrived at?
all right.
Because you can go to AutoStats right now, put in any car, any brand model, it will tell you the average car price that car is sold for. If I come to Nigeria and you tell me that car is sold for 5x of the average price from an independent aggregator,
Yeah.
then how does that make sense? So which means it should be collecting 5x less.
All
Which
right.
means if you collect the real revenue, the price is actually going to fall.
Okay.
But you don't want to do that because you have a revenue target. So
All right.
you'd rather make it
high.
arbitrary.
All right, let's do Chukwudi and Anthony, and then we'll sort of like come back. Chukwudi, go ahead, Chukwudi.
All right, good day, everybody. I hope you can hear me.
I can, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so just to expand on what Olowe is saying, there are different categories of vehicles that will buy. I also sell cars here. All right, so there are the clean titles vehicles, clean vehicles there, and then there are the salvage vehicles, like the ones that are accidented, that we also try to bring in to cut the price. Not everybody can afford the clean vehicles, but what Olowe is saying is that when they get here to the port, definitely the salvage vehicles, we got them cheaper, we have the invoices, but when we get to the port, they are valued across board, they are valued at the same rate. Let's say I have a 2013 Toyota Camry, a clean title. That is, I got it from a dealer. The same thing, someone overseas is getting it. And then I'm getting something salvage here, there, that is cheaper, and then I get it here. Custom values it across board. They take their valuation, they go online, probably they get the price of the clean one, then they value it across board. So when you bring it to the market, it becomes very expensive because the essence is to create, different prices in the market, different strata for different, people have different purchasing power. So that way, it's not being fair to the consumer because the price goes up. So, and there are different factors that affecting this. The dollar price as well. Somebody gets a car in the US. When we get the car in the US, we only have to ship that car down here. We're also paying for the shipping. So when it gets there, it's even more expensive than when you get your vehicle there. So I think, and again, in addition to what he said, custom, they don't have any means of knowing the actual price you got it except from the invoice you're giving to them. But then again, the percentage is across board is fixed. So since the percentage is fixed, then therefore they should go with the invoice. Not going with the invoice makes the prices of vehicles more expensive. And then everybody is forced to buy a particular car at literally the same rate. It gives rise. If you look around now, you hear Nigerian used cars. People are not changing cars anywhere anymore. We're not selling.
Yeah.
So
It's shocking. When I was in Lagos, it's shocking the amount of the Uber, the Bolt cars are all bad and old. I mean, I know I saw these new Suzuki cars, and I was surprised they were new cars. And I read that Uber had given someone $100 million to buy those Suzuki cars because for a mega city like Lagos, you cannot have Bolt cars that are just old. The AC might not work. They are really old. No one is buying new cars. So I know it's and someone had mentioned, I think Kijo had mentioned the local Innocents and the Nords. If you import the car, Oloye, they are charging you a fee that goes to Nigerian Automotive Council. There's a fee there about 15%. Connect that for me. If this was Nigerian, if they were blocking imports to give the money to Nord and Innocent, I would support it. But where's that money going to? Connect that automotive fee that they're charging to local. Is it possible to do that for me?
No, I don't know where it is going.
There's a 15%.
I'm not. Yes, I know. There's a NAC fee.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
but it just shows up. It just shows up on my customs paper. I don't know where it is going to.
15% is a lot.
Probably makes sense because that is close to what they do in Ghana. But I think in Ghana it is maybe like 0.2% that they used to support their local industry. So if you're bringing a car from abroad, I need to get that. Actual. But I think it's 0.2 or 2%.
Okay. I mean,
Ghana that you would pay to like support the local automotive industry. So
okay.
if I mean that is in
That
Ghana
would
they
make
do
sense,
what
right?
they call the yes, that would make sense because in a way you are not only I mean what we're saying here, it just feels like all of us are like speaking into the air. in the sense that we all understand what is happening. At the end of the day, NAC is probably like not getting that 15%. The people who it should support are probably not getting it. They probably have to like source their own dollars, source their own product. And also when they're importing, maybe they can get importer waivers as people who manufacture cars over here, or maybe they are able to like do that. Maybe in that way they are able to stay competitive. By the end of the day, how much are you even supporting the local industry? If the cheapest innocent car is 11 million naira, how many civil servants can afford 11 million naira to buy a car? And in how many years would they have to like repay it? So how much are you even like supporting the local industry? If that is at the end of the day, we care about like selling cars. We don't care what cars we sell. I would sell any car. It doesn't have to be Toyota. If it is innocent, it is innocent.
Okay, fantastic.
If that is where I'm going to like be able to like make my margin, I'm going to buy innocent cars. And I mean, right now you can go to innocent yourself and resell it, but at some point they will need a second-hand value because nobody wants to feel stuck with innocent cars. Which means by the time that you need a second-hand value, now you need dealers who will push it to customers, and that is where I come in.
Okay.
You understand? So at the end of the day, I would sell whatever car you give to me if that car would give me margin. But if you're not even like supporting the local industry to like make the ones that are manufacturing here more affordable, then what are we even talking about? It's just about revenue.
Understood. I have my second guest here. Let me take the last question on this side, and we'll just add as a man with forensic clone. How are you, sir? Thanks for holding on with us. What's your question? A man with foresight. Yeah, a man with foresight. Is that you? Go ahead, sir. Going once, going twice, going twice. Welcome, sir. Thanks for hanging out there with us. You want to unmute and just maybe introduce yourself?
Okay. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Mr. Kalu. Good evening, everyone on the space. My name is Ezichi Ebere. So I deal on mini buses and mini trucks here in Port Harcourt. So I've been on this business since 2021. It's about 4 years that I've been in this business. So basically what we do is we import mini buses and mini trucks, which are used for commercial purpose from Japan. Then we assemble them here for sale. So anybody wants to buy. So that's basically what I do. Mainly our major customers are transporters and maybe some persons who have received their gratuity who just want to put their money to something that work for them. So thank you so much. Thank you for bringing me up to this place.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, just if you guys don't know, those little buses you see, those little tiny Japanese buses, what these guys do is, let me see. I'm going to mute you because there's an echo, yeah? Okay, these guys are able to bring these buses in. They cut them up, stuff them into containers, bring them into Nigeria, then weld them back, do the reconstruction. They look almost as new. And then it's being sold in Nigeria. So I'll see if I can share the video just so you guys have a video reference. But I wanted to ask you, so before we get to this post FOB pricing, how much does it cost you to buy that car in, say, Japan? How much do you clear it? How much do you sell it? What's the margin? If you don't talk about the actual cost, what's the margin? What's the business on that line?
Okay, so these vehicles we source them from auction sites in Japan. There are companies that deal on that just basically they do auction. So in Japan, how these guys they get this vehicle? Most of them go to that. We have Daihatsu, we have Suzuki, we have Subaru, we have which other one again? Both Mitsubishi. Most of the Japanese companies they produce these little vehicles, and these vehicles what they serve is those people that live outskirts of the main cities of Japan. So they get this vehicle for transportation. So the way Japan is designed, it's just the major cities that have all the infrastructures. But if you're staying far away from the cities, you will need all this kind of vehicles. So what they do is they get this vehicle, they use it. So after a while, if a new model comes in, they just take it back to this auction companies. You don't take it back to the house. Even if you send it back to the house as a company, the house will not dismantle the vehicle and use it again. They have to sell it, and they sell it to auction, these people that does auction. So we buy it from them. Now, the cost, actually, what we get from there between $1,500 to probably $2,000 if you're looking at, depends on how clean the vehicle is, and also depends on the model you're buying. These vehicles, they don't have specific, like, as we buy 212, 213, 214, they just have a particular design for a set of years. Let's say 3-4 years, they lump them into a particular design, just give them little tweaking. Let's say some you see a headlamp that has a different color, the other ones you see maybe lights on the mirrors, just minor stuff they just do. Or some even have a different set of upholstery from the other ones. So it's not like they have a very big design change when you do their yearly design. So what do they do? They take the vehicle there, then exchange it for a newer one. So these ones that we get, let's say between 1,005. I'm just giving a range 1,500, 2,000, 2,005. It doesn't exceed that in dollars. So between that is 200,000 Japanese yen and 300,000 Japanese yen. So that's the cost. When we don't clear these vehicles individually. We don't clear them as vehicle. That's why you see we cut them in pieces, like a container. A 40-foot container can contain like 19 pieces of these vehicles. So we separate the roof, we cut off the handles, the body of the vehicle. What we leave untouched is the drivetrain, the engine, the gearbox, everything remain intact. We don't tamper with the engine, we don't tamper with the gearbox, everything remains the way it is. The only place we have a little issue is the dashboard. Because when we do this cutting, we tamper with the dashboard. Now, and sometimes the AC components, although we have professional AC people around now, when this vehicle started earlier, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, you hardly get a very good AC technician that can do the AC configuration and everything. But currently, we have them, they've learned on the job and they can fix it. So that's the only place we have a little issue. So when we get this vehicle, add all these costs, plus and minus, because we don't clear them as individual vehicles, we clear them as a full container with scrap. So the margin is not much on us. The only issue we have is just the forex, sourcing forex. That's the only issue we have. So the margin is not much on us. When we get this vehicle down here, we now do the assembling. First, we do the conversion from right drive to left drive. Then
you change the steering wheel. You do all that in Nigeria.
Yes. We do the conversion from right drive to left drive. All these vehicles come. They are not for. The vehicle was not designed to go every part of the world. If not, they would have designed a left drive for left drive living countries and right drive for countries that drive on the right. So the steering wheel is on the right. So after doing the assembly process, that's when we do the conversion. We move the steering from right to left, which is what we do here in Nigeria. Then, in the process of that, we'll now have a little tampering on the dashboard. That's why when you see the dashboard, most time, it doesn't look very fine. It doesn't look very fine. Okay. And if you look, you see those welded joints by the side. You see the welded joint, except the one that is fully painted. But most commercial drivers don't paint. They just get the vehicles. As long as the engine is okay, they put on the road and start driving. If you want to do all the painting and everything, then you will now cover those welded parts, those places where we do the cutting.
So go back to numbers. You buy it at about a whole container.
Yes. So a container contains about 19 pieces of these vehicles. So we are looking at around 200,000 Japanese yen. That's that's the cost actually. If depends on the auction site you're buying and what you're buying, you can even get for as low as let's say around 70,000, 50,000 Japanese yen. So when you do the conversion in naira, you are getting something around probably 1.8, 2 million, 2.5, just that range. That is the cost purchasing it there. So the shipping company, the auction company handles the logistics of bringing it down here. So what we just do is just go to the port and do the clearing. Since we clear as a container, we don't class individual vehicles, so it doesn't have a custom paper for each of the vehicles. That's why when you buy, you see, we just give receipts. Sometimes people ask, why are you not giving us custom paper? There's no way you can get the custom paper for a vehicle that comes in parts. So we now do the assembling here. So that's basically what we do.
Gotcha. How much? What's the margin on a container? How many cars go into a container? How many, or is it actually car or scrap? How do I call it?
Yes, if you want to get if you want to do an efficient job, you are looking at 18, 19 maximum. But some persons, because it depends on how they cut the vehicle, they have what you call full cut and they have half cut. If you're doing half cut, you can get, let's say, 18 or 17 vehicles. But if you're doing full cut, you can get 19 or 21 vehicles. 20 maximum, 19, 20 vehicles.
So this guy's going.
Yeah.
Then how much do you sell that container for? Like when you sell the whole thing in Nigeria, how much do you make on that?
So we are looking at the logistics and everything for a container will get up to 50 million. If
How much? 15?
Around 50 million, 50. I mean, everything from Japan down here, we are looking around 50 million, maximum 55. Just depends. So
what was the cost?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
The cost of
is it from the?
Yeah, the cost of the container. How much is it to fill the container with those trucks? How much to fill the container?
Okay, these ones is being done by the auction companies. They just give us an invoice of all the cost.
No. What I mean is, I'm trying to get the margin. Like you sell for 50.
Okay.
What's the cost? What do you buy that whole container for total?
Okay, so let me. If you're doing 25, if you're doing 2.5 million naira per vehicle multiplied by 19, we are getting around probably 47 million. So the logistics,
per container.
Yes, per container. Just cost there is around 45-50 million.
That's a lot.
So when you now do the custom jobs and every other thing, that's where the cost starts coming in. If you start doing all those ones there and bringing it down here, paying for the assembly, because some parts actually the glasses are damaged, the front glasses especially. So we buy new glasses and everything, do the assembly. So when you do the margin, you will not get around, now currently we say around 4.2, 4.3 million per vehicle. Depend on how clean this vehicle is, depend on the cost actually it is when you're buying it from Japan there.
Yeah.
So but maximum 4.2, 4.3 million, that's just the range currently now. Okay,
so now thanks for that background. So let's marry this now into this new FOB. Does it affect you in any way?
Okay, so as I listen to Oloye now, that's when I understood what exactly these guys, the custom guys, are trying to achieve with this. So actually what we experience, like I said, we don't clear the vehicles individually. So if we are clearing individually, it will be cost per vehicle on the container. But what we do is we clear it as a scrap. Let me just use this word, scrap. So the cost before now, we've not paid this current one. We don't know what this current one, how it's going to apply. But before now, what we just do is clear as scrap there. What's the vehicle parts? You open it and you check. You check if it corresponds with what is on the auction paper and everything. Then we get them down. So this custom issue now, I've not really understood how it's going to affect us. But with what Oloye just explained and other background, I think I'm going to look more into it for now.
So for now, because you're not really buying are you saying because you're not buying the cars itself,
yes,
it's not affecting you? The auto is not affecting you per se. Okay, but what's your opinion? You think that if they charged you that would also you would also increase how much you would charge to your buyers if you got that charge?
Yes, if this 4% is going to be for the total cost of the vehicles on the container, it's definitely going to affect now.
Okay.
It's definitely going to affect. Maybe the margin, because let me also explain something here. If this vehicle exceeds a particular amount, people will just opt to buy this Enos, because Enos itself produces this vehicle as well, and some other persons as well.
What's the difference between your price and Innocent and maybe Nord? What's the difference?
More than 70% different.
That's it. Okay.
80%. So let me give you an example. Suzuki Super. There's this Suzuki Super that CFAO in Lagos they sell. So they sell the truck currently for 18 million. The truck that has open box. But to get that size of stuff in our vehicle, what we do here is around 4.95 million to get exactly that. So you can see the difference in price. And we are not paying duty for the vehicle individually. We are paying for the full shipment. So you see, if this 4% is going to apply, I don't think it's going to be much. But if it's going to be much on us, people will rather opt to buy a brand new Suzuki Super than to buy a used vehicle. So no matter how it is, we are going to ensure that the margin will not be competing with these brand new vehicles.
Gotcha. If you could send me that your video again, on DM, so I could share for folks to list, I would love to do that. Although you've heard on that side of the auto trade, although it's not really in the same line as you guys, he's importing quote unquote scrap, which they assemble and then resell Nigeria. Any comments?
Yeah, no, it's a business on thereabouts. I mean, anything that involves like bringing cars, that is just not my forte. Because the time that it takes, I put these things back together, I don't know. I would rather just do something else. Because basically, I've been introduced to people who do this business, even abroad, and I've considered like doing this business. But then I don't like to go where I don't know what I'm doing. That is the only thing that has kept me. So hopefully, maybe like Ezechi is here now. Maybe I can moonlight off him, and maybe I learn enough about this thing that I like started. Basically, what they do. Is you see those iJet buses now, those Kurope buses.
Yeah.
That is what they're called in Lagos. Yeah, so the new ones, like you just explained to you, they buy them off auction sites and they just like split them, maybe take off the head, take off like the non-essential parts that you can just weld back together. Because at the end of the day, these cars are metal. You can join metal back together. And the reason they do that is so that they can pack as much as possible into a container. Because at the end of the day, it is going to affect the shipping cost. You're paying per container. You're not paying per what you pack inside the container. Nobody, the shipper does not care whether you're able to fit 19 buses inside or it's only 4. They charge you the same amount for the container. So these people have become like so ingenious that they figured out, why don't we just do it this way? We can use up every single space in the container, and then when it comes here, we just join them back together. At least we are not touching the essential parts that will give us issues. So in a way, like, I mean, all of that courage that went into that, if I could like take cars apart and put them back here, I'm sure there are a lot of people who would take cars apart. In my shipper in the USA takes cars apart like all the time. And the difference between what that would be and what my system is now is when the cars get here, now you have to put those cars back together again. You have to put back you have to put back everything. You have to put back the dashboard, put back everything again. They repaint them, and then they look like the normal cars that you see on the road. The buyer would never be able to tell whether you took them apart or you did not take them apart. It's just a lot of work. It requires a lot of space to be able to do that, and that is not something that you can do right now.
Did you hear
But it's just very good for business generally.
Did you hear what he said at the very, very end when he said that if they charge him what they were charging you, then those cars will become not affordable, and that people might go towards the newly.
Yes, that is the place where I'm trying to like really think about now. How does customs charge these goods? I mean, again, I know it's about arbitrary. But how arbitrary is it going to be? Because even if it is scrap, at the end of the day, customs is going to like perform examination on all the containers you bring in. They know exactly what is inside. They know exactly what you want to use it for. But the thing is, there is a gray line there that you've walked. It is no longer a car. Nobody can argue with you that this thing is a car. So maybe they are not able to like use the VIN number. Because no one is going to like, it's just a bunch of like parts put together. So now they're not able to like use a VIN number. But whatever valuation that they're going to like now use to clear that container, how are they going to arrive at it? That is what is going to like determine. And I understand when you say, oh, maybe the cost would. The truth is, the cost will never be as high as the ones that are produced here.
True.
It is just not going to be, because like I said, if they're selling something for 18 million naira, you bring it for 4.8. Even when your cost goes up, maybe your cost goes up to about 10 million naira. The local market is still saving 8 million naira on your own product. So if it ever gets to a point whereby now it is competing with the local market, then that means we're no longer importing cars. And if we're no longer importing cars, I don't know what it says for our productivity as a people.
Yeah, let me ask, is it just if let me ask you a few questions. Let me get I know a few guys want to speak. Is it very quick? What's your background? Are you the one actually doing the knocking and the adding, or are you just the CEO that brings the money? What's your background? Are you mechanical? What are you?
Okay. Okay, so I studied engineering, chemical engineering. Worked in Akwa Ibom State for a while
What
before
school?
I came back.
What school did you go to?
River State University, yeah,
Okay.
in Port Harcourt, yeah. So I started this business this 2021. So I have an importer who came from Japan. He lived in Japan for a while. So when he started this stuff, I said, I now picked interest in it. So mainly in our factory, I kind of supervise everything that is happening there. So once the container comes down, before every customer picks the vehicle, because now look at where the issue used to be. Before now, maybe you after assembly you may be driving your vehicle, the brake is not catching. You try to match brake, the brake is not working. So if God helps you, you survive that incident and come back. You know, it's so disastrous. So the quality control check if everybody who does this, they will tell you 4-5 years ago the quality control was not much. But as it stands now, before a vehicle leaves our factory, I was certified that everything is okay. From the gearbox, the engine, everything selects very fine. So, because these vehicles actually are good vehicles, they're in good condition over there. The only thing that makes it look a bit this just because we cut that handle, the hands and the roof and everything. That's just what the drivetrain is okay. The chassis is intact. The chassis is intact. So what I do here is because most times, a lot of times, people that doesn't know how it was, they call me, I want this vehicle, this is what I want, this kind of thing. So I ensure that what you're getting is at least 85% what you see online. It's not totally different from what you see online. So
Gotcha.
that's
So
basically what we
the
do
guys
here.
are working there. How many guys work in the quote unquote warehouse? Where's this warehouse, first of all?
Okay, we have at Iwofe in Port Harcourt. Also, we've opened a new one along Aba Road, just close to MTN. Before you get to MTN office, just if you're driving towards Aba Road, after LNO Junction, MTN, then just within that axis. We started just barely a month ago. We came to that place. So we have 2 factories now, one at Iwofe in Port Harcourt and this other side. So we have about 15 to 20 workers. Because of the volume of what we do, in a month you can fill like 2 or 3 containers. The minimum we've offloaded for the past 2 years now is 2 containers per month, just the minimum. Sometimes we offload like 3. So if we say we have 19 vehicles in this vehicle, so we are doing about 38 to 40 vehicles in a month.
Wow.
I'm just giving you a minimum in a month, and nobody has exceeded 1 week in taking your vehicle because of the numbers we have. Once you pay, we'll start doing your job. Sometimes you can take your vehicle 3 days if the volume is not much, the volume of work is not much. But if it's much, you can take your vehicle in 7 days in a week.
So who are these people that do the assembly? Are they all Nigerians?
Yes. Most of these guys. Okay.
How old are they? Just give me a demographic of your average technician.
The maximum. We have like probably 28, 25. Even some artisans, some guys who are just learning job, they just come and maybe follow. Let's say if you have a panabita who you want to learn under, you just come and follow the panabita. So we have probably the older ones are between 25, 30, 35. We just have 2 matured men here. One is an electrician, the other one is a mechanic that just what he does is the electrician actually ensures that every electrical component is being coupled very well. So we just have 2 those matured men, but every other person is young, between the ages of we have 18, just young boys who could not further university. They'll just come. Even some IT, some guys who do mechanical engineering school, they come to do IT in our workplace. So there's basically if you work with us as a mechanic for 6 months, you understand how Japanese vehicles operate, because almost all Japanese vehicles, Nissan, Hijet, these are Daihatsu Dodge, Toyota, they all have almost the same kind of build, and they have economical fuel. So, and these are vehicles are 3 plugs.
Okay. Are these people graduates, or they did not go to university?
No, just few. We've not had. I think I'm the only graduate for now.
So everyone there is no graduate there. Okay.
Yes, most of them are artisans.
Any lady working with you guys?
Yes, we have those who work in marketing and those who work in the office.
What about mechanics? No female mechanic?
No, for now we don't have anyone.
Can you on a personal note, can you train 1 or 2 mechanics that are female? Can you make it a project? And can you go out of your way to get 1 or 2 mechanics that you will train as females?
Okay, so we also, one thing about this job is passion for it. if you have a drive, it's not something that you can say to someone, okay, come and do this thing. You don't require
Oh yeah,
someone
do the ad. Do the ad. I'll share it. That
Okay.
you want to train 5 females mechanic on this
Okay.
car. I'll share it. 5 that you take. You do internship. Trust me, in 5 years you will get to the value of what I'm trying to do. Train 5 females to do this. Set them up on their own. Yeah. Yeah. Just between you, I really appreciate that. Let me get Ola. Ola, how you doing? Ola, welcome. We're talking to Ezechi. We've been talking to Oloye about this whole car import duty. We've done FOB. We've done invoicing. We've done the inflation versus IGR. Ola, talk to us. What's in your mind?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Kano, and thanks for this space. It's been some time. It seems you're on holiday or something. You're in
Yes,
UK,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back. I just have a question that's been bothering me for a while regarding this local content auto industry in Nigeria. And my question is to Oloye, please, if you can talk me through this, or I might be wrong. Is it not possible for Nigeria automaker to come down to the global south? I mean, UK, USA, and some other European countries. Liaise with some banks here and get some Nigerians down here that they've got good jobs, they are fully employed, they have good credit score. I mean, run through their credit score through the banks in the Western world and make them cars in Nigeria. I mean, for an SUV of 40 million or 35 million, and they can make some down payment of 20-25%, and then they pay the rest in 24 months. Is it not possible? Hello?
Yeah, so your question, yeah, thank you for that question. I mean, you have to be able to, I think, from 2 sides of the conversation when you ask certain questions, in the sense that if they do come here and they do that, what advantage are they going to get out of it? Would they make more money than their own current model? The investments, would they be justified considering the kind of economy that we have? So I guess the next best thing that has happened is that we do auto assembly here. And auto assembly is not very far from what Ezechi does. It's not very far from what Nod does. And maybe you can blink your nose or whatever. What they do is not very far. They import parts from all over the world. They put them together here and they label them. Maybe he's not able to label his own cars Ezechi for whatever reason. He has not the required document registrations that need to be done. Basically, he's bringing car parts in here. He's reassembling them here. As far as I'm concerned, he's very close to Nod, or maybe, of course, their own quality control, the engineering, all of that is different. But at the end of the day, if you are supporting the local auto industry, this might be like a tentacle to it, whereby you actually like standardize these things for people who have built their expertise over a certain time. Maybe they actually like go through engineering training now. Maybe that might be the next person. Actually train them in the ways like make these cars better and safer. They've already found a way to reduce cost. So that is no longer like an issue. Train them in the ways like make these cars better and safer.
That's
So
so
like
well
auto
said.
loans go.
Yeah.
A lot of Nigerian companies already do that. If you want an auto loan, reach out to AutoCheck. There are few Nigerian companies that already do that. Whereby, and the truth is, we can't afford new cars. We can barely afford Tokumbo cars.
Oloye,
So if the companies come, yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
no, that's fine.
Yeah. My question. It seems you're not there. My question. What I'm saying is that the few people in the Western world, say for UK, our friends here, like we are highly interested in new cars in Nigeria. Say for Lord, innocent cars and all that. A proper SUV for 40 million, 35 million, and we're willing to pay 20%, 25% down payment. I personally, I'm willing to pay 10 million down payment and spread the payment for 24 months. Is that too much to ask from these guys? I mean, to just collaborate with some form of companies in the Western world and just get people that are interested in this. I mean, to sell their cars back home. I understand that the majority of people cannot afford these brand new cars, but there are some few people that are willing to in the abroad.
Is the market big enough? No, that's the question.
The market is not big enough, but a drop of water makes a big ocean. At least if you have 1,500 people from the UK, you go to Germany, you go to Canada, you go to Australia, you go to America, you have other 1,500 people there. It adds up.
Yeah, I mean, let's take it by his point. I mean, Tunisia, Morocco, these guys they are now exporting cars. Those cars are not used in Morocco and Tunisia. If Ezechi, question for you, Ezechi, do you have any support from the state, local, or federal? Have you received any support from the state, local, or federal? Ezechi?
Oh no, I haven't received any support.
How are you funded?
Okay, so most of these stuff is our brothers in Japan.
That's all I want to know, really. That's all I want to know. So, I mean, take our last point. We are charging 15% automotive fund on every car import. You have Ezechi here that has not seen federal, state, or local support. Even the money he says is getting from his quote-unquote brother. If Ezechi gets 1% support, at least, even if he's going to train these girls with that 1%, has he not added to the GDP? If the state says, okay, you are adding value in Nigeria, what he's doing is adding value in Nigeria. He's taking a scrap, in quote, adding value, creating consumption, and enhancing the GDP. He's counting GDP in Nigeria. He has brought in minus, and so Allah has a lot good insight. I mean, we have to export. Even if you say we'll make Nigerian car, bring your UK Mini Cooper to Ezechi. He will make Nigerian fabric and put on it. He will put Afro. I don't know. There are many things we can do, and we can brand that car and export that car and to even sell more than the original Morris that we even import. The point is, Nord is in a university in Nigeria. He's in a university. He's doing this. What is it doing in a more, structured way? He have had him on a space here before. The level of support is getting, even Senna, they really,
Carlo, sorry, please to intercept.
No, please, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Sorry to interject you. What I'm saying is, I want these cars back in Nigeria. We want to drive these cars in Nigeria.
It's very simple. The cost is it's in dollars. If you want them in Nigeria, you have to subsidize it. That's just the simple answer, Ola. There's no way you can. If you want to get, when Aganga was here, Aganga passed a law that says if you do CKD, you pay zero. What happened is that all the car companies then set up local manufacturing in Nigeria to do CKD, right? Now we have that. There was a time South Africa lost Ford and they came to Nigeria because they want to sell cars in Nigeria. They will assemble it in Nigeria and sell. Easy peasy. But what we are then getting that we're getting that technical knowledge from those guys that are assembling. SHD then can go and work in Ford and learn one new style in the Ford factory. Then go to his own small factory and say he's only doing brake pad. He has brought in technology transfer. That's how China did it. So what killed us that we stopped at Aganga. We have not done anything else. We are still charging a 50% automotive fee. We are still doing CKD. Where have we now gone to from saying, okay, we are done with CKD? Let's look at what Americans will do or UK will do. They will ban all car imports and say, go and buy Nord, send another car in Nigeria. That's what Indonesians did. That's what the Japanese did. That's why you see Trump saying tariffs. Was going to tariff Japan because they don't let American cars go into Japan or China and the rest. It looks mean because it's Trump that is saying it, but that's how you build this thing you are saying online. You've got to force people to use the cars. Tata, till today, has India agreed for Trump tariffs? No, because they are defending Tata, Dahistu, and all those local car companies in India. It's a subsidy. There's no way around it. You can't compete with GM or Ford that has been around for years. You've got to subsidize the local guys to compete. But you have an advantage. You have lower labor costs. So use that to your advantage. Power is in Nigeria. We have gas. If you can get gas out of the ground cheaper, you have lower labor costs. You are already reducing the amount of subsidy that it will take. But I completely agree with you, Ola. We should do it, but you need a long-term plan. You just can't wake up and say, we're going to ban cars and use innocent. You've got to have a long-term plan, stage by stage. That's my take on that.
Thank you so much,
Welcome.
guys.
Yeah, Kinjo's had us all. No, Kinjo, Ifrex Trading. How are you doing, sir? Thanks for hopping in here. What's on your mind?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Carlo. Good evening, my good friends here. Please, my question goes directly to Izechi. I learned you are in Port Harcourt, and then I'm in Uyo. So now I'm in Uyo, and I want your product in Uyo, but you're in Port Harcourt. So does it mean that I cannot just pay money or send money to your company and you deliver the car to me in Uyo within the next, because from Uyo to PH is roughly 3 hours drive, and let's say within 4 hours you deliver the car for me in Uyo. I have to pay and wait for a couple of days before your car will be ready. You know, my car will be ready to be delivered. I don't know if you get my question correctly.
Yes, I got a question. Thank you, Frank. So, like I explained earlier, when we import these vehicles, they come in parts. So, a lot of times, while we are offloading, customers are just around there, pointing the one they want. Most times, they look at the color, look at which one of the body is cleaner. They judge by what they see. Sometimes, depending on what they want, some may want belt, timing belt, some may want timing chain, some may want manual, all this stuff. So, if you pay for the vehicle, because I'm not going to tell you that I'll get the vehicle, except I have already coupled one on ground. Because when those persons buy, when we are offloading out there and they make payments, we have to deliver those that have made payments vehicle on time. So when we are done, let's say out of 90 pieces, let's say we did like 15, I will have like 4 left, which we've coupled. Then we can now keep those ones. Once you want to buy, you can just pay today and your vehicle will be on the road to you that same day. But just so we don't maybe over-promise, and maybe tomorrow after you pay 2 days' time, you've not seen your vehicle, you'll be like, what has happened? You know how this country is now. So probably 3-4 days, since you're far away, we will ensure at least before a week your vehicle will be ready and will deliver to wherever part of Nigeria you are.
Ole, I didn't do a shout out. Ole, I didn't do a shout out. Ole, what's the name of your company? You didn't do a shout out and all that. What did you do this commercially? How can people reach Ole?
Yeah, just Ole Mobility. So Ole Mobility is the name of the company, and you can always reach out to me. I'll drop a link to my contact address here. So if you want to import any cars from abroad, you can always reach out to me. And the advantage you get by doing that is that we all know that in business, the thing that the businessman cares about is his profit, right? So if he's going to use all of his own funds to bring in a car, then he wants to get as much value back for that capital that he has put into the car, which means he's going to be chasing certain products that might not be optimal, but it will give him optimal profit. But if you go the direct importation route, then you know exactly what condition your car is coming in. Funny story, this guy reached out to me last week, and I was like, I want to import a car. It's a 2010 Toyota Camry. I'm like, fine. It was like, so what mileage do you think I'll get? I'm like, you should get around 150. I was like, no, that is too much. My friend just bought a 2009 and it has only 88,000 mileage on it. And I'm like, no, that is not true. I'm very sure it does have 88,000 mileage on it. I'm willing to take a blind bet right now that the mileage is rolled back. That is not. His friend reached out to me, sent me the VIN number. I confirmed for him the actual mileage was 221k that the car came in. So when he eventually got his own car and it only has 112k mileage on it, it was a static from someone that was a bit apprehensive about getting something 150. And now I had to reorientate him. You can calculate mileage and averages based on the age of the car and all of that. So pointers, you know exactly what condition your car came in from abroad. Shady. And also it is cheaper because you are funding it with your money, so I'm just taking a commission from you. I'm not charging you like my full profit like I would if it is a car that I imported myself.
Gotcha.
So I'll drop a link on my page and also here you can reach out to me.
Okay, also SHE, thanks for the videos. I've shared the video of what SHE's folks do on the Twitter handle. But SHE, also want to do a shout out on how people can reach you, or how much is that boss? If I want a boss for myself and I want to customize it, just my seat with my laptop, I can do that, Abi. How much did that boss cost me?
Okay, so well, 4.3 million for the vehicle itself. But if you want to do other, because of the way it comes, the body, those scratches and everything, container scratch and everything. So, like I said, commercial people just buy it and use it like that. But because of the level of the kind of person you won't be going with a vehicle that have a lot of scratch in it. So the body work and everything, let's just say around 4.5 million will get you a very sound vehicle. And let me also add this. Most time people will say, "Oh, this vehicle, are you sure this thing is going to be?" Because I saw a comment like that one time. Let me explain something about this vehicle. This vehicle is as efficient as this vehicle paints a clear picture of who is handling it. So if you do your servicing every month, change your engine oil, do your always change your filter, just the basic servicing, this vehicle will take you more than 4 years. You won't even have any serious issue, rather than just minor issues like maybe brake and other little stuff. But when it comes to engine work, you're not going to do any engine work on this vehicle if you maintain your servicing. The only issue it has is if you don't maintain your servicing, it starts overheating. That's where you start having issues with the vehicle. So around 4.5 million will get you something very, very good that you enjoy.
I mean, 4.5 million, pardon my don't understand, that sounds very, very cheap.
That's the purpose of the vehicle now. The purpose of the vehicle is to get cheap mobility for people. How many persons can save more than, let's say, okay, there's another one. We also offload the caravan, Nissan Caravan, the bigger 80-seater bus. For those of you who fly Aba, Port Harcourt, or this thing, in fact, most of these buses you see in these transport companies, any Nissan bus you see, Nissan Caravan bus you see, is not bought Belgium or brand new. It's bought this way. They cut them as at 2 years ago, so around 4.5 million, but now it's around 9 million naira to get that Nissan Caravan 18-seater bus.
Is there any car cheaper in Nigeria between your lorry than 4.5 million? Can I buy any car, whether it's caravan, bus, anything for any car?
It's going to be a Nigerian used car.
Apart from Nigerian used car. Is there any car? No. So you are the cheapest.
Yeah, after this one is Keke. This tricycle. After this one is tricycle.
That's a different matter. So you are the cheapest guy.
Yes.
Wow. 4.5. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
That's a lot. I'm surprised by this business model. I found it very astonishing that you can finish a car for that price.
Yeah, I've seen the video.
I understand the way he has explained it. I understand exactly why it is possible, and that is basically their own way of making sure like cars are cheap for people. Because if you're going to get this somewhere else, you pay God knows how many X of that price. So if we are paying now, maybe this is where it should be going.
Let me ask you a question. If you take that whole car, right, what parts in that car can you make locally?
So far,
if you wanted to, not saying you should, I'm just saying that let's say someone came to you with money and says, I want to invest in backward integration. I'm a patient investor. What can I invest? You guys will do something. You guys will buy from me, guaranteed. I'll make it in Nigeria. What would you tell the person?
We can get the glasses, the complete glasses. We can make them.
That's the windscreen.
We can also make the dashboard. Yes, the windscreen, all glasses, both the windscreen, the side glass, back, everything. We can make them here. We can make the dashboard here.
Where would you make the glasses?
There are companies that make glasses in Nigeria. A lot of them. So there are companies that make glasses in Nigeria.
Okay.
Most of the glasses we get, most of them, just to get the dimension, the required dimension, get the mode for it, they will make it. It's not a big deal. Okay. The dashboard is something. But the only issue is, for now, after the conversion, some of the things are a little misaligned. So it may not come the way it is from the company, but it's just for movement.
So you can do the dashboard, you can do the glasses. That's it.
You can do the glasses. Yes.
Okay.
You can do those one.
Okay.
So full stay as well. If you check this vehicle, you see the middle seat. It may sound a bit but we'll do the middle seat because it's just 2 seats: the driver and passenger seat in front and 1 passenger seat behind. So there's a middle seat so it can contain more persons. We do those ones here. Around 60 to 70,000 naira. Yes, so.
Okay, so that's some local content right there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shaibu, Benjamin, how you doing? Welcome to the party. We're talking cars, car business, FOB, imports, and all that. What's your take?
All right. Good evening, Mr. Kalu. I have a question for AZG.
He's here. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. AZG, I want to know if you deal with high jets as well, because I'm interested in getting them. That's the car they use in this place now for moving goods.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shaibu. What we did mainly around this site, let me just explain. This vehicle, what comes to Nigeria mainly is Suzuki and Hijet product. That is the Hasu product. So, but if you check between Lagos, Edo, just those western states, they do Suzuki more because they have good technicians for Suzuki. But down south here, southeast, this our states, south and southeast is Hijet. So what we do more here in our company is Hijet products. We do more of Hijet products, but our company in Lagos, we do Suzuki there. So it depends on the demography. And I see most Northern are like, I've had like 3 guys that bought this truck, this mini truck from us. Northerners that bought it and took them down to Kano. They buy Hijet trucks as well. So we deal on Hijet truck. If that's both trucks and buses, that's what to do more here in Port Harcourt.
Okay, how do we contact you now? We'll be glad if you can drop your contact in this place so that
you can contact me and pay 10%, and I'll send you his information. Yeah, but SHA, you've got to send the contact. I can share both you and a lawyer. Send me your contact, I'll just share it on the space so that way, or your DM, something like that. Yeah, you have to do that real quick. Yeah. Because
all right, sir.
I get a lot of DMs here. Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir. Vas, Kinjo, you have a question? Am I saying that right? Kinjo. Am I saying that name right? Kinjo?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
Izzy, thanks for coming around. I'm just very glad that, you said all this. And I'm happy that, Oloye is stunned. The reason why I said that is earlier in one of your submission, you were trying to paint the picture of the Tokumbo cars, or the ones with the accidents, are the cars that average Nigerians, should be able to afford those cars. But from what he just explained, you can have an idea of what that average, is, because average is relative. I'll tell you that I also export cars, a whole lot of cars. And the average amount of cars that I export is between $50,000 to $60,000. And I'm not going to, from that perspective say, that's what the regular Nigerians can afford. No, because I know the customer target. I know there are people who don't even want anything. They don't even want to scratch on their car, right? And the fact that he's showing this, if you're going to look at this from the perspective of the government, think about that. Like, anyone who is even importing a car has that financial might to chest this 4%, this extra 4% that they're talking about. And in terms of what I said earlier in promoting local industries, for someone like Ezechi, he's having 15 to 20 people. You're talking about factories, you're talking about creating employment and all that. My cars don't create employment, So I want you to say it from what they do with the revenue generated from that is a completely different story, right? But we're just talking about the structure, what they're trying to put in place, what the vision of all of those things, What they now do with it is, it's my business, but that's a completely different conversation. But, I just want you to see the plan and what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, again, just it just comes to me like this, right? SH is at the very, 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 very bottom if we talk about manufacturing and skill adding in Nigeria. The Nords and the Innocents, if SH can do this, imagine what those other guys can do. And you just wonder if really this funds for development that we hear about, that diversifying the economy, if you really wonder if those funds are really going to the folks that can really, really drive the economy. If this one guy can employ 25 people, can train people, can import, and he's doing 2 containers a month. So he's taking out Forex, but he's bringing in capital to Nigeria as well. Training people are buying because of what he's selling at 4.5 million. How I saw this video, a girl shared this video where she wanted her friends to go and buy this bus. A girl, little young girl, and she was able to get this bus with 4 of her friends and all that. You know, how many cars are still for 4.5 million in Nigeria? Not a lot. So what he's doing is, without people like him, he's not the only one doing it. Without people like him, no one will be able to afford a car in Nigeria. It's just that simple. So it goes back to this IGR and revenue debate. IGR versus customs. If you want to make revenue in Nigeria, you can make revenue, but that would mean that you are making that revenue on the backs of the middle class. Remove SHE. How much is the next car? Is it 5 million, 6, 7? It's not that. It's about 10, 11. So we have to really plan this thing well in Nigeria. We just can't say IGR and our target revenues when people cannot drive a car. I mean, SHE, honestly, I applaud what you're doing. But if the solution, if the savior of the Nigerian middle class is a guy importing stuff from Japan so that we can buy, man, we have a long way to go. I ain't mad at you. You're an entrepreneur, but we really have to ask questions. If this is really what Nigeria wants to build, next thing you know, we'll import televisions, and then I don't want to go there. I can never pronounce your name. Vasunaik. Help me out, sir. I'm trying to add you. Vasniok?
Yeah, hello.
I apologize. I just have difficulty pronouncing your name. I can't get the vowels right. But you've got the floor, sir.
It's Vasniok.
Vasniok. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, first, it's been a while. I've been on your space. How have you been? Are you good?
Yes, sir. I'm doing very, very good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, nice. And thank you for the work you do, despite all the tantrums from left, right, and center. You've continued to push. I mean, you must really have a thick skin with all that is being said every time. How economic and financial opinions are quickly turned to tribal stuff, and you're able to continue. I commend you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, I got interested in the conversation when I think it was Oloye who said, sorry, I got a quote, that there are companies in Nigeria that make glass. Yes, Better Glass is one of them. We have them in Agbara. We have them in Delta State. But I don't know if they make those kind of glasses for cars, automobile glasses. But I know they do make glass. So maybe that is the one he was referring to, that there are companies that make glasses. Yeah, Better Glass is one of them. Then he also mentioned about upholstery, that the upholstery is done in Nigeria. Yes. We have a lot of upholstery guys in Nigeria. Plenty. If you go to Ladipo, you see all manner, Igbo, Yoruba, everybody is doing it, right? If you go to Edo State, there's even a guy who is a national icon there. I think the guy is disabled. He's a challenged guy. He's repute. He's known across the country as one of the top upholstery guys. So, yeah, we do it here. But here's my question. Usually, like in finance, I think one of the biggest challenge that finance, especially in the blockchain crypto sector, has had is standard regulatory framework. So I am seeing this new push of local automobile production. Do we have Nigerian automobile standard? Not Standard Organization of Nigeria. No, those ones have become glorified NAFDAC. No, I'm talking about like an agency that defines what the standard should be. So going back to the issue of upholstery, Nigeria is one of the top exporter of leather. Nigerian leather is top across the world, right? But it's not sold as Nigerian leather. But so we have the leather, we have the local stuff here. But do we have the standard that is required, automobile standard that is required to say, okay, that every leather covering must have a 2 cm thickness at the rear, 4 mm thickness at the, in front, those kind of standardization. Then coloring, that, certain colors are not used because they are flammable colors. Do we have standard for design in local automobile? That is my question.
But you know the answer now. You know the answer to that question.
No, I don't know. I seriously, because I don't want to assume. I like what the guys are doing in that space. I have a friend, he pimps car. So I always tell him that small, you don't go, one day now you set up an automobile company. The guy will literally take a 2012 Mercedes and turn it to a 2018, a 2022 car. The guy is doing so well. When you see these cars, he did one for a very old, what's it called? This popular Toyota pickup. He turned it into this latest thing, man. Everybody was surprised. So I am saying that there's a push in that sector, especially driven by Nigerian youth. Is this push commensurate with growth of regulatory framework, or we're just doing it for passion? That's my question.
I think it's a difficult thing to do, because what regulation does, it's make things, should we say, standardized, safer, better, but it kills innovation, right? There's the reason why Apple, Microsoft, and the rest all started off in their quote-unquote garages, where there is no supervision. It's just their parents watching them and not the government. Same thing why you have the US having Magnificent Seven and Europe has nothing. Europe is a regulation king, I hear your question. Your question is going to the fact that, listen, these things we're doing, even look at our food. Is there any recipe you can go for Nigerian egusi that you see Nigerian egusi recipe written out that measure or egusi in this volume, add salt in this volume? So when you want to bake a cake abroad, you still try to measure oil, measure sugar. Do we do that in Nigeria? Not really. If we do the standardized testing, the costs are going to go up clearly, because NAFDAC will charge you, ASWAN will charge you. So we've got to really ask ourselves that question.
Sorry, Carlo. Sorry to cut you, Carlo.
No worries.
Sorry.
I hear you.
I think somebody was saying that during the Dora Konyili era, just an aside with NAFDAC, because you mentioned it.
Yeah.
During the Dora Konyili era, what Dora tried to do with NAFDAC is make revenue less of the basis for NAFDAC. And I think every government, because of what you said about innovation, right? Sadly, the current government and government before it has not been able to see governance the way it should be. That innovation is what drives enterprise, is what drives, especially with our youth of today, right? The youth today. That we need to start de-emphasizing revenue for standard. That now that the automobile sector is picking up, I expect that right now that the government people should start watching and start building regulatory framework in a way that it doesn't stifle innovation, but it provides the basic safety, those kind of things. Right? But of course, we know how it plays out here. It's always money.
I hope so.
Revenue.
I hope so, because when you say Nigerian regulation, what comes next is a fee to do this, fee to do that. So I agree that there should be an oversight on what folks like here are doing, to say, okay, hey, is your welding done correctly? Is the drivetrain done correctly? For now, is his quality control manager? Should we have somebody else saying, okay, we can see what you've done and give it a sticker to run on Nigerian roads? I agree. But I wish they would come there with a regulatory and safety mindset.
If you do that,
and not to come and charge them fees. That's just my own.
If you do that today, those buses are going to cost 8 million by tomorrow.
Exactly. That's just the fear. Yeah.
Those buses are 8 million tomorrow, and they are not adding any value. I mean, we're all Nigerians, so we know how these things go.
No, but the point remains that, the point remains that we want cheap vehicles, right? But at the same time, we want safe vehicles. A situation whereby we are beginning to get scared of safety in a way that, in this kind of manner, in my opinion, is we're going to drive an enterprise to a direction that we'll regret later. It becomes so because it's going to grow. This industry is going to grow. The enterprise is going to grow. So if we do not start looking at safety in a way that government must come on board, not to stifle its growth, but to support the industry in a way that it allows innovative approach. But at the same time, this issue of Naira and Kobo should be de-emphasized. That we're not here to charge you fees for this regulation. We're here to make sure that we
hear you, but like you just said, we're Nigerians. We hear you, and that the prayer is that what you're saying would happen. But if you can give me any regulator that is not talking about revenues, and once you hear MTN is every time I hear MTN broke this law, 50 billion trillion fee. This one broke that law, 100 trillion billion fee. That's all I hear. I don't hear anyone saying, oh, we don't like, we are recalling this product because we don't like what's happening, go and fix it. It's always fee. You broke this law, IGR. I don't know, man. But I think your comments are correct. It's just, we're just praying together. We don't turn this into let's go and collect revenues from these guys because they are now bringing in 4 million per container. Let's charge them 1 million per container for quote unquote quarantine. You know, that's what you see. Quarantine will come. You want to export a goosey from Nigeria to Canada, you pay quarantine. In Nigeria, what are you quarantining in Nigeria? It's not Canada you pay, but let's leave that one. Epiphanos Don. Hi, how you doing? You guys should have nice names on Twitter, so they're easy to pronounce. How do you say this one?
Yeah, I already pronounced Epiphanos.
Epiphanos, okay, sorry, I apologize.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, good evening, Carlo. My greetings to everyone here. I would like to start by commending you for the great job you are doing on this space, even in the midst of all banter that do fly from all corners. Because you speak the truth, the state of the economy, the way it is. So I really appreciate it. And to Ezichi, I really appreciate the detailed analysis, how you do your business. I just have one question concerning this auto business. Like, I've been trying to know, like, if what are the requirements, or is there some restrictions, like someone having a discussion, reaching out to some of these automobile companies, maybe Mercedes, Toyota, and others, all these technicians in abroad. So reaching out to them, discussing to them like some of the the advantages of maybe establishing an outlet in Nigeria where they can maybe ship all those equipments, just like all those equipment that haven't been assembled, so that by the time they get to Nigeria, they'll be able to assemble them, and instead of coming as a full as a full car.
Did you get that question? I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, I got your question, Epiphanos.
Like, the way Ezichi is doing this one, is doing. If people can discuss, like have a deal with a BMW, maybe Mercedes-Benz or Toyota, they can bring their expertise to Nigeria, like establish a outlet in Nigeria, ship all those the equipment or whatever they are required to assemble a car. Maybe want to assemble maybe C-Class, all these things that needed assembly. That how can it work out? Like, it should be cheaper for them.
Allah is already laughing. Allah is giving in the background. There's no market in
Let me
Nigeria.
respond before Loye goes. I know Loye will believe this. Let me just respond a bit. So you see how it sounds? It just sounds like it's something that you can just easily do. But see how it works. You see Suzuki. There's a company called CFAO in Lagos. Although you may know about them, they work with Suzuki.
Yeah.
So most of those Suzuki small vehicles you see on Lagos Road are these boat guys and these people use. CFAO does the assembly here. So Suzuki just give them a knockdown part. So what they do, they just bring drivetrain here and do the assembly. But the issue is that even those ones they are selling there, most of them are like a long-term contract. Let's say 4-5 years contract, you start paying. And we understand how this country, let me not say we understand the country. You see, the issues are, what is the scale? If BMW is coming to Nigeria, are they coming to build a factory for probably 20,000 Nigerians who can afford a brand new BMW? I'm just giving a number. So if the scale is not much and the credit system is not working very well, I feel it's going to be a Herculean task bringing companies down here to build. If it does work, if we have that facility, they will definitely come here. That's what they want to do. They want to be in business, they want to make profit, they want to scale up. But it's even cheaper for them to build here and do the assembly and sell than doing the importation and everything. But the issue is that who can afford it? What is the numbers that can afford it? You can't do that market for just few persons that can afford brand new ones. Even the Belgian driven vehicles are even expensive to purchase. Talk more of doing a brand new vehicle. So I understand your point. Theoretically, it's okay, it can work.
It can't work because the simple answer, Nigerians can't afford it. Nigerians can't afford it. It's simple.
It is peanuts to an elephant. Like what this infrastructure that we're talking about is available in South Africa. Like all these companies, as a assembly that you will find a lot of Mercedes outlets, Toyota outlets, and all of this, whereby they have like franchises with these brands themselves. The car dealership business is not a thing where you have to manufacture a car. The manufacturer obviously has that process down pat, and they need to sell these cars. They are not really, aside from like, okay, maybe Mercedes has a marketing department, maybe they have content creators, but at the end of the day, they send these cars to dealerships. You're not buying these cars directly from, even if you live abroad, you buy a Mercedes from a dealership. There are franchises who work under like Mercedes, whereby every new car they send it to a dealership, people can buy from there. This infrastructure is available in South Africa. We don't have to manufacture cars to make those cars cheap.
I just think that here.
The reason that SH's cars are cheap, like you said, is number one, they are paying on the container. They're paying customs duty on the container as a scrap, and also nobody's going to come and ask SHA for his customs paper, because at the end of the day, customs did not clear it as a car. So if you want to register those cars, you are not going to come and ask the SHA for his customs paper. At the end of the day, if you want to go back and reveal that car, you want to actually pay a duty on it, then that means your personal cost is going up. But that is dependent on the individual. Do you understand? So if Nord is there and all these guys are bringing in parts and they're assembling it here, and the cheapest car you will get from Innocent, that's most infrastructure is 11 million naira, then what are we talking about?
Yeah,
it is not the manufacturer that is going to make it cheap.
Simple thing is that anything priced in dollars Nigerians can't afford. Then when you come to Nigeria, the cost is too expensive. Again, I've stated we have certain advantages. We already have a cheap labor cost in Nigeria. We've got to convert power to make power cheaper. How? We already have gas. You've got to get that gas out of the ground, power smaller gas plants, and provide power. The laws are already there. The government has already passed the laws. You've got to allow these companies. I would say pass a law and say if you bring the gas out of the ground, use it for free. Because when they bring the gas out, they will have to also sell the excess. Instead of saying bring the gas out and charge, no, just tell all these manufacturers, if you can get the gas out of the ground, use it for free. Cap it to a megawatt or whatever. But they will power their factories for free. What will they do with the excess gas? They will sell it. So I read a story about Abba, the Buhari's admin built the IPP, the gas-powered IPP, to power the market. But the cost of the gas power, from what I read in the article, is more than using a generator. So how does that make any sense? Why would a trader convert to using clean gas that the government is providing that is more expensive than using generator? So the pricing there is wrong. It's very, very wrong. If you make the gas cheaper, then everybody will stop using generator and make it smaller. Although you have HFPSs in Lagos, Dolphins in Lagos, if you power your gas, use it for free. You have to incentivize private sector investment. The government can't do it alone. And once you have that skill where people can say, oh, you mean if I get the gas out, I'll use. Julius Berger is going to go and dig the gas out, use it for their own factories and sell the other gas. You don't really want to care because the gas is out, it's being used, and you're then going to improve your GDP and make more money. We have to stop all this revenue. Let's make revenue today, for 4 years revenue. It stifles innovation. It's all 4 years. Let me get revenue, and all that. I had a guy here. Jesus Christ. I wish. You guys should put nice names on Twitter. I wish. How are you doing?
Sorry, Carlo, I have to jump off the space.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say thank you so much for being here. You promised us the time and you've been here. I really appreciate you. We're going to wind up the next 15 minutes and call it a day. Ole, don't forget to share that stuff for me so I can share. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much.
I already did. I shared it on this. On
Jumbo. Excellent.
It's on top there. Yeah.
Well appreciated, sir. Thank you so much.
Bye.
I wish. You've got the floor. What's going on? Okay. Share. Let's do share. Then we'll call today. It's been an hour and a half well spent. I learned a lot. Share.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, can I go now?
Yeah, good.
Yes, sir. Share. Hold on for him. I think he's finally hopped in, and I'll take you on. Please go ahead, Irene.
I'm excited to join you guys this evening. Oloy, thanks for this space. My take is this. I was looking to start a logistic or a carrier business. So getting some truck now, tipper trucks, is looking like a challenge, especially in my location, Owerri. So I want to ask if you can, because I know we've talked earlier, sometime around February or March, you said that you are not into a truck, that you don't import those tippers. So I don't know, maybe in Nigeria, you have a dealership or someone that can link me, or any way that I can get some of those tippers. I can send samples later if you want. Then I will be very happy to engage in that.
All right. Okay, so I think you guys can you send him a DM and he can talk to you on that? Would that work for you guys? Because I think you're asking him a question on regards to your business, or if he wants to answer, can you do that?
Yes, I can. If he says DM.
Did you hear him? He's asking for something for his business, and you guys have a discussion.
Okay. Sorry, is it the mini trucks you want or the normal tipper? The tipper, is it Hobo? They have this Hobo truck kind of tipper, and they have this message. These ones that these ones they use for carrying normal sand. This one with your phone. No? Is it the normal Mercedes truck or?
Yes, either the messages or the whole, but it depends on the ton, like the size, the work. Yes. So something like that. But this one now is specifically for agricultural products like palm fruits. I'm using to export, to transport palm fruit from one particular city to the other. I already have the market, like we are going to. So where the truck is going to be of use, but now getting the truck is being an issue. So now that you know what I want to use it for.
Yes, I can understand you better.
You know the type of truck I'm looking for now, yeah.
All right, guys.
No problem. We'll talk on the DM. Just message me. Message me now. So probably I'll take a WhatsApp contact and we'll talk from there.
Oh, we already have a WhatsApp.
Okay, guys. Yeah, Share. Let's have Share. Share, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to bring a different point of view because, for example, I made a little research and then I stumbled upon some factories in the US. For example, I stumbled on one that, I can't remember the state, but I stumbled upon where they make Toyota Prado, Toyota Hilux, and I think Tacoma or something like that. And in that factory, every 67 seconds, a new car is being rolled out of the factory. Every 67 seconds. That's just 7 seconds above a minute. And then the conversation everyone is having here, it just makes me try and think that, okay, if this is just one factory that is rolling out just 2, 3, 4 models of cars of a Toyota spec of cars every 67 seconds, what reasons do all of these big car brands have to come and make a factory or come and do anything here? There's no incentive for them to do that, because if just one factory is bringing a car every 67 seconds, and they expect the customers there to be buying those new cars, then the used cars that are in those markets, where they have to end up going somewhere. So at the back of the head of this execs or wherever, at the back of the head, they probably think and know that, okay, regardless, the used cars or wherever goes to West Africa or whatever the case might be. So there's no incentive for them to do anything. The only and this incentive flows directly with the guys in the West and then the Asian giants, which are Japan and South Korea, that also have Toyota and Co. So they're already aligned. The only other spec of superpower or any other that can produce cars or will be even interested in kind of doing anything with us are the Chinese. And what the Chinese will do is, okay, fine, you set up an assembly plant, but we supply the parts. And you need to understand that some of these cars, they don't even have the spec of Nigerian roads, and which makes them more expensive. So, for example, if you, for the most part, if you buy the average car from, I don't say luxury, but let's say mid car from shipping from US or wherever the case might be, it probably has heated seats. Even Toyota, I think they have heated seats, if I'm even right. Heated seats is not a feature that Nigerians need. It's really not a feature, and that's added cost. But all of those things are not made for us within our environment or exactly what we need. So it's more like if we're waiting on banking on the West or where, even South Africa that we're talking about, South Africa needs heated seats, quote and unquote, because they have a weather that is still close to the West. So if we're banking on Western car brands like a Toyota or wherever, or we're banking on Nord or wherever to bring these parts from China or wherever they are bringing them from, which is tied to their labor or to the manufacturing cost of those places, then it doesn't make any sense. The only way we can go out of this is we work hand in hand with China, for example, and say, okay, let them bring their parts here and they will assemble it. That way, we can give something to the Western brands or the Western countries to think of, because if we have, let's imagine that we have a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades of manufacturing Chinese cars there, then the Mercedes-Benz that we all love in Nigeria, that taste is going to change to Chinese cars, because that's what we've been acquiring. And all these companies in the West, they already have a saturated market with the Benz because that's already their strong field.
Sure, you've made that point, yeah. I hear you. I'm not a car expert, but you remember that the second-hand car market in America and the West is also very, very huge because of the students and the guys that just start to buy cars. It's a massive market. They're not targeting the West African market at all. The way it works here, you buy a brand new car, you can buy it for yourself or you can lease. After you use that, businesses buy those cars. They call them certified use. Lots of middle class folks buy them. It goes down the ladder. You then buy them second hand, and then the student market buys them third hand, fourth hand. Here in America, all these guys that work in McDonald's and rest, that's all the cars they buy. They're not even looking at the West African market at all. We are buying what we call the scrap, condemned, accident. I don't think we can afford a normal middle class Nigerian family cannot afford a second-hand car without issues from America. It's just not possible. So that's what we buy those things, then we fix them. You know, here the labor is very expensive. So if you bash your car and the whole backside is bad, they go and pick a backside from another part. Then they bring it to Nigeria where labor is cheap and they assemble it. That's what they do. That's how we can afford those cars. Without that, I doubt we can. I doubt we can.
So in the long run, at the end of the day, these guys, they have no incentive to, even before, fine, Nigeria is, in terms of our affordability, is bad right now, but let's even use the Jonathan days. It's not like they were hyped about coming to think of setting up infrastructure. Yeah, you can talk about, oh, there's no power, whatever the case might be, but they never talk about it really, because why? It's not even in their plans. The only set of people that are thinking about it are the Chinese. And if the Chinese decide that, okay, I think they already have one or two things going on, but if the Chinese go full round in Nigeria and say, okay, we'll set up assembly plants here, then in the next 2-3 decades, these Western brands, the Mercedes, the Toyotas, quote and unquote, they will not have a market share, because why? The tastes of Nigerians or West Africans or whoever, quote and unquote, are shifted to Chinese car brands. So that already in itself will make these guys not have an opportunity to grow. So that's just my 2 cents, because these guys the factory that is launching every Toyota car every 7 seconds. Toyota is not willing, or for geopolitical reasons or whatever the case might be, they're not willing to say, okay, let's shift some workload, quote and unquote, because we want to manufacture from Africa because it's cheaper, and then we export the car from Africa
No, it's
to
not.
the US or wherever the case might be.
Say it's not cheaper. That's the thing. If it was cheaper, they would have come. They're in Tunisia and Morocco because it's cheaper there, but they're not in Nigeria because it's more expensive. They are businessmen. You don't look for them. If Nigeria passes good laws, you remember when Aganga passed the CKD law, they came. Toyota has an assembly plant in Nigeria, not a massive one, a CKD plant in Nigeria. Toyota, Hyundai, Ford, all of them, even Mercedes-Benz, they're all in Nigeria. The point is that we've got to make sure you keep businessmen in Nigeria. That's the point. If you make it too expensive, they will go to Cote d'Ivoire or to South Africa. We're not cheap. That's the point. Say we're not cheap.
Okay. So why do you think the Chinese, the Chinese, you can call geopolitical reasons, but why do you think the Chinese are trying to play more hand into making sure they establish themselves here?
Because the Chinese cars are cheaper. They are subsidized from the Communist Party of China, so they are cheaper. The only reason why Nigerians buy Chinese cars is because of the cost. We don't care about whether it's from China or from Indonesia or from the USA. If a car is cheap, Nigerians will buy it because that's what we can afford. So Chinese cars are subsidized. American cars are not that subsidized when you compare them to Chinese cars. So Ford is going to come here at the $56,000. Who can afford that? The same car will come from China at $10,000, subsidized. Of course, everyone's going to rush there. Everyone's going to rush there to buy it. If Ezechi tried to buy this car he's importing Nigeria, if he tried to buy the brand new one, he wouldn't be able to do what he's doing. If he tried to go to Japan and buy the brand new car or second-hand car in Japan and bring to Nigeria, he wouldn't be able to do what the margins he's making. He wouldn't. We're expensive. If you want to, let me tell you what we should do. Pick a state in Nigeria. Maybe it's Lagos or Calabar or Benin, so a state on the coast. Make that, I've said it before, make that state 100% no taxes. No VAT, no tax whatsoever. And just declare that state open for only international business. If you come to Nigeria, go to that state and manufacture. That's what the Chinese did. If you get those guys coming there, they will not pay tax to come in, they will not pay tax to go out. But you know what will happen? People like Ezechi will go there and learn from them and then go to the hinterland and create that same company. Exactly the model the China guys used. But if we keep on taxing, once someone else comes to Nigeria, we tax him. They won't come. Why will they come? We are competing with Kenya. We are competing with South Africa. Why will they come?
I get your drift.
Yeah. So like, now person will find way. If you're looking for a girlfriend, what you do to your house, you make it nice. You put AC, you put TV. It's the exact same thing with business. If you are looking for people to come to Nigeria, you have to pass laws that make people come. You don't go and look for investors. Who is called investor? You can't be walking in the state of wars in America and say, are you an investor? And my name is Governor Kalu from Abia. Come and invest in Abia. It doesn't work that way. When you pass the laws, these guys have people that their job is to scour the world looking for deals. If you pass a law that says that in Nigeria you can come 100%, own a factory, manufacture goods in that factory, and export goods from that factory without paying zero taxes, people will come. Do you know that in Canada, Ireland has a law, is it a grant? If you're a Nigerian, you go to Canada and you establish your manufacturing in in Ireland. Ireland will pay you to hire marketers in Nigeria. You're aware of that? So like Ezechi now will go to Ireland and say he wants to set up this same factory in Ireland. Ireland will pay staff in Nigeria to market for him from Ireland. That's a serious country. Are we doing it? No. So how can we compete with them? You see, Chinese guys you see here get loans from the government. They come here, anything they see they can manufacture in China, the government will give them a loan to do it. So if you're looking for something, you attract it. You don't attract things by taxing them IGR, making it difficult. Look at the visa we're talking about now. We're talking about visa on arrival. At least it's getting better now. US has clamped Nigeria with 3 months visa because that's what we give to US. Why should Bill Gates get a visa to come? You say, why should he not get? Is it sovereignty? But you are the one looking for money now. If you're looking for money, give him to come. Why should Bill Gates get someone to invite him to Nigeria? If Warren Buffett wants to come to Nigeria, a Nigerian has to invite him to Nigeria, or he gets visa on arrival. Why? We're the ones looking for business, Abi. So why is US? And we're still not taking care of that. We are still on 3 months visa ban because Nigeria gives US 3 months visa ban. Because we are giants of Africa, they can't treat us like no. We are being too prideful. If you want investments, allow these companies to come. US was giving us 6 months, 2 years multiple entry. We are giving them 3 months single entry. Now they've reversed it. Who is crying now? Haruna, how you doing, Haruna? Long time.
I'm good, Kalu. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Yeah, you're going to be our last caller, Haruna. I don't know if you've been here from the start. We're talking about this car imports. We had Loy here talking about the 4% FOB that Customs has introduced. It made costs go up to import a car. So in effect, it's inflation versus IGR. Do we fight inflation or do we earn revenues? We also had Ezechi here talking about how he has sort of got around that. He's bringing in these things fully knocked down. Slim in Nigeria, he's not paying the fee. His trucks, or is it buses, at 4.5 million. Very innovative. What's your take? I've not seen in a long time. What's happening in that part of the world? How is the farming? Talk to me.
Farming is really bad.
Wow.
Insecurity, cost of fertilizer, and so on and so forth. They've already crashed. You see, that's what we're talking about. We don't have any good business model in Nigeria. Now, prices of foods are getting high. You now go, you import into the country. Why don't you try and boost your own production so that you meet up? It's just simple economic law that determines price, supply, demand. So why don't we boost our supply in the sense of make farming accessible, introduce mechanization at cheaper cost? Government can go in a way that it can even put subsidy in farming, not at the input, at the initial stage, at the end product. Assuming a maize is going for like 50,000 per bag, some farmers, government can buy directly from farmers at say 70,000, go back and resell at even 30,000. You see, the main idea is that what we are getting wrong, I feel personally, we are turning our government into Kalu Haruna Nigeria Limited, that we're after profit. Government is not after making money. Government is about providing services and welfare to its citizens to make life affordable and better. And when we come to the car import, you see, most of these people that I doubt if you can buy any truck anywhere in the world and come and sell for 4.5. How can you sell for 4.5 million? How? You buy a truck for, say, how many dollars or euro? Mm-hmm. Look, the smallest truck you can buy now, the smallest, even if it is an 814 Mercedes or whatever, or an Iveco or a Volvo FL1416, it's going to cost you nothing less than 5,000 euro a used one. Then how are you going to knock it down and then cut it into parts and come and assemble it? You can't assemble. You can't knock that. It's only these small cars that people get from Japan, South Korea, and so on that they cut and put into containers, shipped to Nigeria, cleared for 10 million or so on.
That is different. But for trucks, I doubt if you can do. I've never seen a truck being butchered and then come to reassemble. I've never seen it because there's no truck you will buy. No truck you will buy from Europe that is less than 4,000, 2,500, even if it's a vehicle container, or even if it's a vehicle chassis, you are buying the chassis only. So it's really, even when you take the chassis off, it's so long, then you cut it. Now, when you cut it, you come to fabricate it back, weld it back, put an iron beam on the chassis, fabricate it, you knock the engine one side, you take the cap one side. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just probably the cost of even rebuilding, reconfiguring it back is a problem.
Mm.
Why we're having problem, to be realistic, is that, you see, our government have turned taxes into a source of generating revenue. Taxes are not, country can survive on taxation to say it will boost its economy based on taxation. I always argue that taxation is not form of making.
Can anybody else hear him? Can you hear him, Haruna?
100 euro, which is about 2 point something million. You ship it for about 800, 900 euro. How much is that? It's coming up to like 2,100 euro. Then now you pay duty to about 2 point something million, 2.3. It ends up about 6 point something million. This is a car that 6 years ago, 10 years ago, you pay for 350,000 naira to clear it. But now you are paying 2 point something million to clear that car. Not taking into account. So how many people can afford that? The used auto market is a very vast market in the world. It's very lucrative, it's a vast market. But we in Nigeria, we are depriving our citizens the opportunity. Well, to go even further, cars now are no more luxury, they are necessities. We should understand that. Then the simple basic necessity, you are being deprived. Everyday custom, their dashboard. You can pay now duty for 2.1. The next person that comes to the counter, he will be charged 2.4 of the same car because it fluctuates. We don't have any standard even in our duties. It just fluctuates like a wavelength. What kind of nonsense is this? What kind of government do we have? Nobody is sure of anything in Nigeria. The ports, you are not sure. Today, if you go to the port to clear a vehicle, tomorrow is a different ball game again. So how can cars be cheap? Cars can never be cheap in Nigeria. Because your government does not want you even to afford the small luxury privilege of owning a car. Even the used cars now in the country, they are so expensive. Even within the country, they are expensive. Talk less of importing them. That is why now if you go to the ports, you can play football match 11 by 11 because the ports are getting empty.
Oh, God.
People are going to Cotonou now and they're smuggling it into the country, faking duties. So what's the point? Why not make it cheaper for people to bring visitors in? You've already floated your naira at an exorbitant rate, given us stupidity. You don't have any armament to defend your naira, and you're floating it. What sort of nonsensical economic sense is that? When the naira cannot fight to get its value, are you an export country? Maybe you are an export, or we're an import-dependent economy. If you are an import-dependent economy, how will you allow your naira to float, if not stupidity? Where is the economic sense in doing that? There's no economic sense. Look at all the, like the Uncle Borrower scheme, all the rice mills and so on we had in the country, fertilizer blending plants and so on. And most of them are going down now.
Well,
because there are no food for them to use.
Haruna, most people don't know you too much. You've been a constant guest with us here. We're using you to gauge the food output, even the northern situation in terms of insecurity and agricultural yields. I take on what you've said, but since I have you, let me ask you a few questions. Inflation in Nigeria is now going down because food prices are going down. Do you agree with that? Do the numbers on the inflation side marry with what you are seeing on the ground in the north? Last time you were here, you were telling me how you are getting your maize and selling it at an additional price. Is this still the situation now? Have the cost of your farm outputs gone down because inflation has gone down? What's happening, please? Haruna, are you still there? Haruna? I think I lost him. Haruna, I don't know if you heard my question. I think maybe I lost him. Okay, guys. Ezechi, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us here. That's what we're going to call today. Ezechi, can you hear me? Can you guys make sure you guys can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, powerful. Maybe Haruna just dropped off. I really appreciate when he comes in because it gives me an on-the-spot assessment here. So, Ezechi, thank you so much for being here. I know I got you at very, very short notice, and you are still able to come and talk. And I think you've given us really a lot of, should we say, a lot of behind the scenes, facts behind the figures, things that we didn't know about. So let me just first of all thank you, and I appreciate your whole team, what you guys are doing there. You guys are helping Nigerians out, so that's important. Please focus on quality control. Like you said, you do the quality control. Please keep focusing on that. If you guys have to do one thing right, it's safety. Safety first, revenue second. Definitely. Yeah, please keep focusing on that. And don't forget the one we talked about. If you guys can have a program to train the females into this, that would really be a good thing to see and to experience. So do you have any closing comments before we close out the space?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kalu. Thanks to everyone who joined this space. I really appreciate the time. Also, just to add, our country will get better. That's what we hope and that's what we pray for. Mm-hmm. Just good policies that we hope for. Everything, we have the innovation here, we have the expertise, we have the brain, we have everything that can make this country work. It's just the right people to bring out the policies that will make things work for us. So thank you so much, everyone. If you want to buy these vehicles, like I said, Mr. Haruna said, how can you get a vehicle for 5 million? You see how fascinating it sounds? If we don't do it this way, honestly, that vehicle could be around 10 million naira. If you're getting it just like this. There are countries that import it not the way we do. Other countries now, the issue we have now is even sourcing it now because other countries are also interested in this vehicle in Japan. Not just Nigeria alone. There are other countries that are doing the same thing we are doing. Even some don't even have to cut in their own. They just bring it where it is. So we hope that we maintain this price that everyone can afford, both the middleman and the middle class and even the least among us can afford. But if the custom regulations, the way that thing is messing up this importation and all this stuff to really affect this business. So thank you so much. Thank you, Carl, and everyone who can. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for being here. I love you guys when you come and you ask those brilliant questions. Thanks for all the new folks that have come in. We're here every Sunday, 7 p.m. West African time. We're talking money, the economy, and of course, finance. Next week, I'm trying to line up a guest. I also have there's a space I want to hold. I want to hold it as neutral as possible. It's going to be about infrastructure development across Nigeria, but I'm trying to look for the angle. I don't want it to be that kind of space where we just come and talk, but I'm trying to hold that space. Also want to have a few guests coming next week. Can't say that yet till we confirm they're going to be in. Then we'll let you guys know. But definitely we're going to be here next week, Sunday, 7 p.m. on that topic. I appreciate all of you that have joined in. Keep doing so. We learn together, and of course, we're going to earn together. On that note, guys, let me let you guys go. It's going to be a great week. Go out and earn and make that money. Keep it simple, keep it safe, and I'll see you guys here next week. Again, my name is Kalu Aja. Thank you so much, and bye.